Welcome to the Panic Button, everyone. I'm Nina.
I'm a lesbian.
And today, these two lesbians right here are reacting to a video by Amala Epanobi called She Really Pissed Off the LGBTQ Community.
And that's why it matters that I'm a lesbian.
She called out the alphabet mafia, you know, the 2S LGBTQIA plus community, and now she is getting eaten alive on the internet. Let's talk about it.
That makes the most sense.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yes, today we're going to be talking about Betty Who. And if you're asking, who is Betty Who? She is an Australian musician.
Sorry, what'd you say?
When she said 2S LGBT, I thought she said 2X LGBTQ, and I was like, how accurate the 2X LGBTQ.
It's plus size. It's grown.
And it's accurate.
It's absolutely accurate. Who's Betty Who?
I think that's the point.
Okay.
And singer. She's got some music out there that you guys can go and check out if you like. Now, she recently was on a podcast titled Made It Out. This is apparently a lesbian-centered podcast, whatever that means. And she had a conversation about her queerness. Now,
Have you heard of it? Because I haven't heard of it.
Never heard of it. Never been recommended it.
Me either.
Never even.
It must be woke.
Never even heard it from my woke coworkers.
There you go. Something's off here.
she is an individual who identifies as queer, but ended up with a man. Now,
So she's not a lesbian. She's
no,
bi.
I was gonna say, and she looks like JoJo Siwa's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, you're right. Kinda.
But no, you would be bi then, and I guess
You'd
she
bi,
did say
yeah.
queer, right? She did say she was queer.
Well, if you say you're queer, I just automatically assume you're bi, not gay or lesbian.
Well, I mean, if you dated women, but you ended up with a man,
You're bi.
you're bi.
Yeah.
And if you still would, like, if that relationship ended tomorrow, and you'd still go out with a woman,
You're still bi.
you're still bi.
Yeah.
Which Nina has softened up to bi people. She used to think they didn't exist, but I've slowly turned her to the belief that yes, people can want to have sex with both genders. It's shocking. And yes, I do agree. They're going to marry one or the other. But if they got divorced,
how she decided to speak about this phenomenon, her thoughts on identifying as queer, yet ending up with a man. And this has pissed off the LGBTQ plus community, especially the L. The lesbians are not liking it. Let's watch the clip.
I'm a queer person who was like, I'm probably going to grow up to be gay. And then I became obsessed with a boy. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. It doesn't mean that I am not queer and that I don't represent or like love the queer community and exist in the queer community. A huge part of queerness is like identifying yourself and putting yourself under like, you know, alphabet mafia. It's like,
sorry, I thought a big part of queerness was having sex with people that had your genitals, but maybe I'm wrong.
which one are you? And if you change that, I will never forget it. You know,
Right.
like it's funny that Renee Rapp is like, you'll never catch me dating a man. It's like, go off, queen. Like, I love that for you. I also hold space for her in 10 years if she goes, oops, I met the love of my life and it's this man. I didn't mean to. It's
Right.
like, that's okay. You know, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be illegal for you to fall in love. It's kind of like now we've come so far that our community is so strong that now it's like a crime to be straight.
So there you have it. There is the clip in question. Now, did she say anything?
I figure we should cover it before we let her cover it, because what if we have the same opinions? You know.
Oh, what's your opinion?
This goes back to the JoJo Siwa thing, ironically.
Or the
She looks
Fletcher
like
thing?
she looks like JoJo Siwa, and she talks like JoJo Siwa. She has the same actions as JoJo Siwa.
Yeah.
I don't completely disagree with the sentiment of what she's saying. Maybe it's because I've always had my own version of like a true love kind of clause where I'm not going to hold on to someone if they want someone else. As a lesbian who's been left for men in one way or another, or been
there.
preceded by a man, you know, like I can see. I lost my point. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's what. Sorry. I can see people changing their mind, people finding someone that they really click with, and ending up falling in love with them. And so, as a lesbian who's been left for men, I'm really okay with letting go of someone if I know they're not interested anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem that a lot of lesbians can't get over. Being left for men is a big thing that lesbians can't get over. And I'm not like mad about it. If anything, I'm relieved because I know that I don't have the same capabilities that a man has. I think, as a human, a free adult human, as long as you're not committing crimes or hurting minors, love whoever you want to love. But the Gold Star lesbians aren't going to want to touch you.
No.
But it doesn't seem like you're going to have the problem because you're with a man.
Queer means bi. It's just another word for it.
Yes, definitely. But of course the lesbians are getting mad. They're women.
Are the lesbians getting mad because she called herself a lesbian?
I think the lesbians are getting mad for the same reason they were getting mad at JoJo Siwa. Because
Well, JoJo Siwa was coming out and just saying, I'm a plain old lesbian.
Well, it sounds like that's, to a sense, not 100% what this chick was saying.
Yeah.
But at least partially. She was identifying as queer. And I think lesbians are sensitive. They're women. Not to be a dick, but they are. And so they're going to take it harder, and especially the ones that have crushes on her.
Woke lesbians think that if a woman says she's queer, it means she's strictly for women. Non-woke lesbians like us know that queer just means bisexual. So I think the woke lesbians are angry because they assume she was strictly for women. But no, anyone who says they're queer isn't strictly gay or lesbian. They're bi.
Well,
And
'cause why would you-
They're late to the show, man. They need to catch up.
Well, yeah, why would you call yourself queer
And not a lesbian.
if lesbian covered what you were?
Exactly, because it's an open invitation for men as well to slide in. Like, hey, I might be a little curious, but where is curious? Bi-curious. You don't hear lesbian curious. You hear bi-curious. Lesbian curious.
Heteroflexible?
Heteroflexible is a good one too.
I've heard heteroflexible.
Yeah, which also makes sense. But you can't be lesbian flexible.
No, because heteroflexible says that I'm straight, but I'm curious. That's usually how it is portrayed, as curious. It's like they're figuring it out. And nobody gets mad when you say you're curious. Or if you label yourself as queer, bi, whatever the case is, don't solidify in a category unless you really know what it is, I guess is the problem. But even in my opinion, if you want to say you're a lesbian and then say that you're bi after, you just can never claim lesbian again.
No, because
That one's now behind you.
obviously you were wrong the first time.
You left it behind you in the trash in the other room. You can't take it to the next stop. So you have to either eternally be bi or switch all the way back to straight.
Either way, no one's going to take you seriously anymore. About your sexuality. If you say you're a lesbian, then you start dating dudes and they're like, no, I'm a lesbian again. It's like, that's not how it works.
People won't in society take you seriously. However, if they gun bone, they gun bone. You know what I mean? Like if someone's going to have sexual interactions, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter if you label yourself whatever. So yeah, society isn't going to view you as a lesbian. You can have all the lesbian sex you want to have after, but it doesn't make society change their viewpoint on you.
Yeah, because you still like dick.
Well, now we know you like dick.
Yeah.
And you can say you don't, but we have the receipts.
There you go.
Wrong in that clip. Hell no. Okay. She said she happens to be a queer person who fell in love with a man, which happens. And she's going on to say that's okay. You should.
Why do we say this like it's the end of the world,
I
guys?
don't know, man.
The majority of people are straight. Oh, I happened to fall in love with a man. And statistically, you were gonna.
Yeah. They're getting mad.
I'm getting mad about how they fucking... I got in a whole debate with ChatGPT because they wanted to tell me Eddie from It is gay, but they never declare his sexuality. But they think he's gay, but he's in a straight relationship. Why are we pretending straight people don't exist?
Maybe he's heteroflexible, but he's not flat okay.
You can argue, okay, it's speculated he's gay. They never explicitly say, but he's in a straight relationship.
Yeah.
That would have been the simple answer. But no, this thing dicked me left, right, and center to try and
owned by
tell me
Google.
that he's gay. And like in the new movie, yes, he is gay. It is like canon in that movie, but not in the old series. I mean, Stephen King said he was okay with how they did it, but that doesn't mean that he's gay.
This was Stephen King also wrote a lot of other stuff that wasn't in the
There
movie,
was
if you know
a
what I mean.
whole scene that was cut out of that.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about it because we're not allowed. We will get demonetized just for mentioning the scene.
And then somehow Stephen King went full on woke. A lot of people are blaming that on the cocaine, though.
I love the South Park bit of Stephen King and is it Spielberg? They're constantly f***ing Indiana Jones.
I didn't see it. So, what?
Didn't Steven Spielberg and Stephen King do Indiana Jones?
I don't know if Stephen King had anything to do with Indiana. I never
Stephen
heard that
King.
before.
It's Spielberg definitely it's Spielberg and someone else. Spielberg is constantly fucking Indiana Jones because he's just saying that he's constantly shitting on his work, and so he uses it and he just fucks it. That's how I view.
You're not allowed any more fucks.
Sorry.
You're cut off.
Okay.
You've used your fucks.
Shouldn't be alienated or made to feel like you've made. some sort of mistake because you fell in love with a man. Now, she brings up Renee Rapp, which happens to be, I guess, a bigger mistake than any in this clip. That's what people are really talking about. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Renee Rapp, she's a pop star right now who is on a meteoric rise, I guess, really in the LGBTQ plus community. She identifies as lesbian and, of course, has said she would never date a man.
Okay. I can guarantee you she's not a lesbian. Any artist, aside from Katie Lang and Ellen, who come out as lesbian are lying. Bet you any money she's bi. Bet you. Put money on it. Let's bet.
She doesn't look enough, like she's not weird enough. She's a Fletcher looking.
Yeah.
So she's not quirky enough to be a lesbian.
Lesbians are quirky?
Look at the lesbians in media and tell me they're not fucking quirky. So
I don't think lesbians in media cover all lesbians, though.
No,
It's a
but
small portion
this is
of it.
lesbians in media. I'm not talking about all lesbians. I'm saying this one doesn't look like a lesbian to me.
You know what? Maybe it's not the look for you. Maybe it's your vibe checking.
Whatever
You've had enough experience with lesbians to know which one
whatever you want to
seems
call
like a lesbian.
that does not look like a lesbian to me.
Fair enough.
And even though she has in the past, but whatever. Okay. Now, because Betty, who has said she holds.
I was right. We don't
Yeah.
need to bet. I won.
At what point does lesbian get taken away? What point do you,
If you
what
ever
point-
liked penis in your life, you are not a lesbian.
What if you only did it like once? We dated someone once in high school.
Oh, to like test it out? Oh, that's different. That's different.
At what point can you claim lesbianism? Before, obviously, if you undo it.
If you
But-
ever enjoyed sex with a man, you are not a lesbian.
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That answers your question.
So after your first sexual experience with a man, that's the only one you get as a lesbian.
Yeah. If you liked it enough to go back for seconds, I'd have to say you ain't gay.
I was just I wanted to know where you put it.
For the idea that Renee Rapp could possibly meet a man in the future. They're now calling her lesbophobic. I've heard a lot of phobics in my day. A lesbophobic is not necessarily new, but the flippancy with which this word is being thrown out. Be so for real, you guys, okay? Lesbophobic, she is being called now. A queer woman who is dating a man who's just talking about this phenomenon is now being called lesbophobic. Can you guys give me a break? Can you give anybody else a break? Now, she says, jokingly, that straight has become illegal with the way that we've sort of politicized things, with the way we talk about these communities and self-identification. And she's not necessarily wrong. This is not just an issue within the LGBTQ plus community. It's an issue within leftism and wokeism. The right deals with this issue as well. This sort of tribalistic view that once you have labeled yourself as part of a group, you are part of that group till the day you die. You must toe the line in the ideology of that particular group, or you're done for. You are not accepted anymore. And that's the feeling that she's getting from the LGBTQ plus community, and that's okay to talk about it. In fact, there's plenty of evidence that what she's saying is actually true. We watched recently as JoJo Siwa, a young girl who identified as queer, took on a straight relationship dating this guy named Chris Hughes. Now, she was getting flamed online by the LGBTQ plus community, who once claimed her, saying that it's ridiculous that she should find herself in an opposite sex relationship. We have another example. There's a singer-songwriter by the name Fletcher who started dating a man.
We
Can I
did
just say-
that, man.
We also did videos on all of this before. So.
Yeah, we did.
It's all the same. And it's what you're seeing is people who are gay baiting pull out. And this comes back to the it thing I was mentioning, and me fighting with ChatGPT. People are acting like straight is so taboo.
But it's majority.
But you're gonna be straight 90% of the time.
See, my opinion is that the LGBTQ is too inclusive. They're so inclusive, they don't even vet the people they allow into their group.
But they're not anymore. Because if you switch in the middle.
Maybe you should start vetting the people who are claiming to be something that they might not be, aside from going all in and gung-ho on them and promoting them just to make yourself look like a jackass when they come out to be straight. You know? Maybe vet better. Vet.
This is going to sound crazy, but maybe like artists for their art and not for their personality. If you like JoJo Siwa's music, shocking. But if you did, or Fletcher's music, when they were gay, then you should probably still like it when you're straight. When they're straight, sorry. Because what does it say about the art they're producing?
doesn't matter.
You're not there for the art.
It doesn't matter to them, yeah.
They're artists. I've never learned a thing about their life,
You just like their art.
and I like their art.
Yeah.
And that's why I listen to their
You
music.
can separate the art from the artist.
It's often for me, as someone who does enjoy music, I often never look into artists because I find it to be so disappointing.
I know, it's so true. That's why they say never meet your idols.
And so I might know their names. I might know when the songs came out. I might love this song more than anything. But I will very rarely look into the life of the artist. I don't know why. I think some people think it's disrespectful. I don't think it's disrespectful. I am appreciative of their art. And truly their art. The rest of them can go do whatever they want to do.
People usually do that because they want to connect more with the artist. I don't know.
I mean, I guess because we have the availability, but my passion isn't for the artist. My passion is for the music.
The art, yeah.
I enjoy music. I do. And I like making music. I'm not sitting there dissecting what time this guy went to bed and what he ate to see how he made his music. I want to listen to how the music sounds to try and figure out what I might want to do or just enjoy the song. Mm-hmm. So what does it say about people like Fletcher, people like Renee, whatever her name is, Renee Rapp, JoJo Siwa? You're not there for the art. You're there because they said they're a lesbian.
Yeah.
And even as gay as I am, I will go because I enjoy the artist, like the art, not the artist, every single time. It's just so confusing, and it shows you that we're not listening to the art. We're just watching them as artists.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like Robert De Niro's politics at all. I think he's kind of a loon. But I still like the movies he's in. I can separate the two. A lot of people can't because they feel like offended, like it offends them personally. They take it too personal.
I can understand not wanting to watch something after you find out someone's a sleazebag, but just finding out that someone divorced someone or moved on to a new relationship, like that is such a mundane reason, such a boring reason.
Mm-hmm. Boring people.
Mm-hmm. And I know you were upset about the JoJo Siwa thing. How do you feel now?
Yeah. How do I feel now? Mm-hmm. I think she's fake.
Yeah, they're all a level of fake.
I never liked her music, so
I've never listened to anything besides
I don't
that
like
song.
that people like her give lesbian a straight name.
They say that they can convert.
Yeah, that's a big problem for me. Because
I
it
think-
proves the point of the people who are against us in the first place.
I think the fact that they keep acting like it's an accident that they found men is the worst
Yeah.
thing ever. No, that is genuinely the worst.
On a penis.
They're literally saying to like masses of people, I was gay until I just accidentally found the right dick, which is what they've been trying to say at us for years. And many of us don't ever find the right dick because it
we
was
never
the
liked
right
it.
pussy.
Yeah.
even though she identified as lesbian or queer, something along those lines. And she came out with, I shit you not, an entire song titled Boy, where she essentially apologizes for having fallen in love with a man. Now, I'm not going to read you all of the lyrics of this song. Go and do it for yourself. And it's kind of hilarious given the state of things right now and the social structure of this issue. But let me read you some lyrics. And I know it's not what you wanted to hear, and it wasn't on your bingo card this year. Well, it wasn't on mine. I fell in love, and it wasn't with who I thought it would be, and I'm scared to think of what you'll think of me. His lips were soft. I had no choice. I kissed a boy. Laying my cards on the table, I'll admit, I don't know how to label it. Maybe we should think about labeling things to begin with. Next, she goes, you can think that I'm a hypocrite. That's cool. I'm just following my heart. Is what it is, and only time will tell. And this whole time, she's just apologizing to her.
And these lyrics that she's saying, it wasn't on your bingo card this year, well, it was not mine. You think she had no idea that she liked penis? I think she had a pretty good idea that she also liked penis. So, yeah.
It doesn't
probably was on her
matter.
bingo card.
But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. This song is just a placation to her audience to try and get them to settle down on the heat that she knows she's going to get.
She's apologizing for being in a straight relationship.
Shouldn't matter. And honestly, if you have fans, you should just be forward and say, listen, I was mistaken. I really thought I'd never like a guy, but here I am. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that happens to everyone. I guess I was bi. And I don't think even the biggest problem I had with this chick who started this, right? The whole whatever her name was talking at the beginning, is that she says, I found the perfect man. I fell in love with just the perfect one. You can say that you found a man and that you love him and your relationship's great, but stop making it sound like it's perfect.
Yeah, because they're going to get divorced anyway.
Well, not even that. It makes it sound like, oh shit, these lesbians don't get it, man. They're just going to find the right one.
Wow, that sounds familiar.
Yes.
Her audience for having fallen in love with a boy. Can we stand up? Can we actually stand up? You are okay to be in a romantic relationship with whoever you want to be in a romantic relationship with. You are okay to think you're part of one label and then to switch up and realize that you're not. You're okay to not label anything, okay? We can actually just move through the world and experience life and see what befalls us without having to identify as a particular part of a community that we are now, I guess, submitted to and must believe and fall for and be in.
Now, here's the thing with lesbians like myself, which I know there's a lot of us out there. When it comes to women that we like, we kind of have to know where they stand when it comes to their sexuality, because a lot of lesbians, like myself, won't date a bi chick. We just won't. And there are reasons for it. And most of y'all know what those reasons are.
But there are plenty of women who will.
There's plenty of women who will, yeah. But there is a reason for differentiating, for needing to know, like, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much you like penis? Because I need to know before we get into this relationship.
Well, I think it's about boundaries. At the end of the day, all relationships have boundaries. Mm-hmm. And saying that this is what I'm comfortable with and this is my boundary is not something that should be frowned upon. It's not you saying, it's still an opinion when it comes to dating. And you've still dated chicks that were with guys.
Yeah.
So it's not that you won't.
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
It's not
and
that
I
you
was
won't.
also fooled. I was also fooled by women who said that they only liked women. Come to find out that's not true.
Well, it doesn't help when you also have these lesbians that they're probably looking up to, not like us, but like there are younger lesbians looking up to these women just because they're lesbians. And now they're saying they're straight. And if you've been idolizing these women, you're probably going to go try it.
Uh-huh. You're going to go against how you actually feel in order to follow the crowd.
And I think that says more about how we treat sexuality and artists as like idols, and sexuality as something so fluid. Let me just be frank. Yes, sexuality can be fluid. You can find someone attractive that you wouldn't normally find attractive, but not everyone's sexuality is fluid.
Right.
Some people have a very straightforward, easy to understand sexuality.
Absolutely.
That's why you have hetero, homo, and bi.
Gold star lesbians.
Heterosexuals are usually pretty secure in what they do.
Sexuality.
Minus the women who obviously can't decide what they want.
But that's not very solid.
But definitely the men. How many men do you know who have tried penis once? I mean, maybe more today, but like back in the day. Back in the day, it didn't really happen. And
or it was hidden.
Right. They kissed a guy. They didn't go as far as having sex with a guy.
Right.
There's like, women will go all the way, whereas a man will like have a guy accidentally like touch his dick once and he'll run away. And that's why I say, like, you can say sexuality is fluid. And yes, for some people it is, especially if you're bisexual. Not for all of us, though. When I was young, I thought I was straight. And then as soon as I got to be like 16, 17, I realized I wasn't. I went on a few more dates with guys just because I felt like I had to. And then ever since then, I haven't. And that's something you'll find with a lot of people. You might also find the opposite, where someone who was confused like I was might continue to be confused for a longer amount of time. It's personal.
You just got to find someone to date who doesn't have those kind of boundaries like I do.
Yes, and there's plenty of women who are out there who don't care if you've done that before.
Right.
But there are plenty of women who do care. And it's the same as telling a man your body count as a straight woman. He then has to decide if your sex history is something he wants to deal with.
Right.
A community with for the rest of our lives. We do not have to keep doing this. But nonetheless, Betty, who is getting response after response to what she said, of course, many are calling her lesbophobic. I'm going to read you some tweets, and then we're going to watch some video responses as well. One person says, seeing Betty Who essentially imply Renee Rapp could look up in 10 years and decide she wants a man, even though Girly is explicitly identifying as a lesbian and is literally in a relationship, I would be seeing red. The only reason you should be seeing red from what you hear or, hypothesizing that Renee Rapp should be seeing red is if you have poor emotional regulation, okay? She didn't say nothing wrong. She said, go off queen when Renee Rapp said she would never date a man. And she says, you know what? If she just so happens to in 10 years from now, which is a hypothetical, not a prescription, okay? it will be fine. And that she'll also hold space for that. Why are you guys so upset? And when you get so triggered by this,
Do you think that it's her? Do you think that's an attack?
What?
By saying you know, she could look up in 10 years and say, maybe I want to be with a man. Do you think it's an attack on her lesbianism?
She's not a lesbian.
The tweet.
I didn't really understand the tweet, what they were trying to say.
So the tweet is saying who was the lady who started talking at the beginning? What was her name? Not Renee Rapp, but JoJo Siwa.
I don't know who she is, so.
That chick at the beginning had said that if Renee Rapp were to wake up in 10 years and decide she wanted to be with a man, she wouldn't judge her. This tweet is saying if somebody said that to me, I'd be seeing red. You're literally saying I'm going to end up with a man. Do you think that's a prescription saying you will wake up in 10 years and want to be with a man? Or do you think that's simply someone saying it could happen to anyone?
I guess it's someone saying that they don't take the fact that I say I'm a lesbian seriously.
Well, she doesn't take it seriously, right?
Well, then I wouldn't take her seriously.
I don't think it's an attack to say that. I think what she intended to say was any lesbian today could wake up and decide they're not a lesbian.
I think that's insulting.
I do think it's insulting, but I still think that that's what her intent was. I don't think it was to attack Renee Rapp. I don't think it was to say, Renee Rapp, you're going to be with a man in 10 years.
It's pretty much saying that all lesbians can be straight women.
Well, that's the implication you're hearing.
That's what they're saying.
What I would assume they're trying to say is that some people aren't sure and might decide in the future that they decided that they want to try it and want to take a relationship down that road.
But that's incredibly insulting to lesbians.
People who are in an active lesbian
relationship. That's like saying
relationship.
to a straight person, down the road you might, find yourself being with a lady, and it's like, you don't know me.
Not to play devil's advocate too hard, but as Amala said, this chick has dated men in the past and is now identifying as a lesbian.
Oh, then I wouldn't take her seriously as a lesbian at all.
So does that not give the first lady at least a little bit of justification for saying that in 10 years she could wake up and be with a
that would
man?
give them justification, yeah.
So it's not necessarily insulting to all lesbians. It's specifically saying that lesbians who've been with men might end up with men in the future.
Yeah.
Which happens.
Yeah.
I'd say happens when not. Women are notorious for getting a bad taste for men and then only dating women. And then they find just the right guy and they're not lesbians anymore.
So they were lying the whole time saying they're lesbians when really they were just bi.
Yeah, they're just scared of men because some of them really suck and they don't know how to pick them. They obviously they don't hate men.
Some of them do. That's why they...
Maybe for a period of time, but they obviously don't if they end up being with a man.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
But usually a lot of
currently hate men,
bisexual ladies who have been with men in the past, they have a bad experience with one man and say, I'm done dating men, I'm a lesbian. When really they're not lesbians.
Yeah. How many people have heard, I know you've heard it because I've heard it enough times, I wish I was just a lesbian, it'd be easier.
It's not easier.
It's literally the same. I would say you have different challenges, but it's probably the same as any other relationship. Why don't you think so?
Well, because for lesbians, you only have a certain amount of people that you can date. Straight people, there's a lot more straight people.
I would say the relationship in itself is the same as a straight relationship.
Yeah, I'd say it's way different.
There's different challenges.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the same. You're coming together to build a life together and overcome your differences.
As long as you're not talking about sex or the personality.
No, there's different challenges, but at the end of the day, we're all in a relationship to try and better ourselves and make a life with someone.
Not all.
That's the end goal for most people.
Okay.
Some people are just boning.
Yeah.
It almost implies an insecurity about the identification and the label that you've put on yourself. Maybe if we were more chill in response to this and you sort of let it fly off like water off a duck's back, nobody would be questioning your identity and the label that you've placed on yourself. But again, I digress. Let's read another one. It says, it's genuinely depressing how much lesbophobic rhetoric is accepted and spread by other queer folks themselves, simply because lesbians dare to not be attracted to men. It's just so tired and angry. Also, Renee Rapp should be allowed to cuss out whoever this Betty Who freak is. Another says, Betty Who on that podcast tells Renee Rapp to hold space. And then why are we still pushing the narrative that lesbians just haven't found the right man yet? Is that what she said? Did she say that all lesbians just haven't found the right man yet? Or did she say, I'll leave room for somebody if they just so happen to relinquish themselves of a very hard structured identity and decide that they want something different? I think she said the latter of the two. At least I think. That's what I heard. Let's watch another video. This one's on TikTok, and this is a TikTok response to Betty Who.
This is the type of shit that could only be uttered by a fucking white woman, a white queer one. Oh my God. For reference, if you saw my video from a couple days ago, this is exactly the clip I was representing. Exactly the clip I was representing. Trying to tell Renee Rapp that she hasn't found the right guy, and we would love if in 10 years she became straight, and that straightness is somehow becoming a crime in the fascist country we're living in right now.
God, this woman just cringes me out, man.
You know what I love?
Oh, when white women
call out white women for simply being white.
Why don't you just call her like a Nazi, Hitler-loving, fascist, Stalin-esque person? Why doesn't she just use all the buzzwords?
She's gonna.
Really? Fascist? Ugh. It makes me want to gag. I'm so tired of hearing these woke lunatic Karens always repeat the same rhetoric over and over again as if anyone's going to take you seriously. You lost me. You lost me when you started bitching about white women, you white woman.
I do understand the frustration people have with a lesbian who went straight telling another lesbian, I'm using quotes because they're not pure lesbians.
Obviously, they're not lesbians,
Right.
yes.
So she's now telling another lesbian,
Faux lesbian.
that she could end up with a man. And if you didn't know about the past, you'd be like, that is kind of messed up. They shouldn't be saying that. But with context and with history, additionally, I don't think it's as big of a deal as you guys, like, not you, but you guys are making it out to be. People should be allowed to say that they want to date whoever they want to date at any given point in their life.
Yeah, but you shouldn't say, hey, everyone, I'm strictly a lesbian. Accept me as a lesbian. And then you come out saying, well, you know what? I've always liked penis.
Right.
It's well, now you're making every person who says they're a lesbian, every woman who says they're lesbian, look like lesbian is just a phase, and they'll eventually be with men.
Yeah. And it's a bad look, but at the end of the day, celebrities should be like any other person and allowed to date freely.
And we shouldn't take them so seriously.
And we shouldn't take it so seriously. And it shouldn't be the tell-all, be-all on lesbianism.
No, they should not be the prime representation.
No, definitely. And JoJo Siwa, Renee Rapp, whoever this
Fletcher.
bitch is, none of them are, let alone Gold Star lesbians, none of them are non-public lesbians. And someone who has to deal with it in their private life is a little different than someone who's promoted it all over to get money.
This is blatant lesbophobia. Like, I don't know what to tell you other than this is just lesbophobia. And I do think there is a huge problem with specifically white bisexual women who have fallen in love with men, and that has been their experience, painting everybody else's experience with the same brush to say, well, this happened for me, so surely it could happen for you too. Which, again, people are gay, honey. People are gay. I am gay, so no, that's actually never gonna fucking happen for me. I'm so irritated.
Oh, wow. A person on the left is so irritated. Okay, breaking news. Fork found in drawer, people. I mean, people are always upset about anything. I mean, just 1 week, it's a new celebrity. The next week, it's another. And this is going to go on in this cyclical nature for the rest of our lives. It almost becomes meaningless to respond to it. But nonetheless, here we are. There are a couple more TikTok reviews and responses, I guess, that we shall get into before I respond. Let's watch this one. It says, POV, you're a lesbian in 2025.
And then I just became obsessed with a boy. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay, and one more. This one says, every woman love woman celebrity in 2025.
Yes, I am with a boy now. I've changed. I'm softer. I've left that life of chaos behind.
Okay, and I'm not even going to dignify this by watching the entire video. You guys get what's happening here, right? Okay, this person said a perfectly reasonable thing. She's actually pointed out something that is worthy of discussion given the way we talk about sexuality and we push orientation onto people and we push people to label not only their sexuality, but every single essence of their being, personality, and living experience. And if somebody dares to question that, and this is the response that they get, it's reinforcing exactly what she said. You've actually given her enough power and ammunition to just restate exactly what she said in that video because you guys can't stand the idea of somebody questioning the structure of the moral and sexual framework that you live in. That's literally what's happening here. And you know what? We're going to see example after example of young people, young women, young men identifying as queer, lesbian, and gay, and then finding themselves in opposite sex relationships because that's just the way that life goes. And we now live in a time where people feel this deep.
It does sour me to anyone who says they're a lesbian. Now, with gay men, it's pretty cut and dry. You don't see a lot of gay men being like, that. But you do see a lot of women who say they're lesbians, who want to fit in, lying, saying that they're lesbians.
I would argue that there's more men probably sleeping with both sexes than women.
Yeah, but they're not coming. Okay.
Not to be a dick.
Because men are whores?
Yeah. Men will take it when they can get it. And especially, I've seen so many bisexual sex addicts that are men.
Okay.
Why
would you like vagina?
My old gay roommate had a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And he was constantly cheating on him with anything. And it was with a man. Cheated on him with any and everything.
Well, he's not gay. He's just a hoe.
No, but he was in a gay relationship. And I'm saying that, like, men are more apt to promiscuity than women. We've been pushing it on women. But that doesn't mean that they're more promiscuous because that's why they are ending up in these straight relationships. Because they want to settle down and be with one monogamous person.
Maybe the lesbians of today aren't the monogamous women that the lesbians of yesteryear were.
I think the lesbians of today are the bisexuals of yesterday.
Yeah.
And then the gold star lesbians are the lesbians of yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And distinct pressure to...
Sorry. But I still don't disagree with what the non-lesbian said at the beginning. It happens. And if we continue to...
If she was going to say that to you...
No, I'm not saying I agree with her saying it at lesbians. I agree with the sentiment, which is that sexuality, if we're going to say it's fluid, then we have to allow people to move fluidly within it.
Yeah, but lesbians aren't fluid.
No, but these people on the left, say sexuality is fluid. But then when they exercise the fluidity of it, they get mad.
Yeah, well, What I'm
saying is
because they're the same.
They're
the same people.
Being mad makes sense.
They're the same people who say that a lesbian is someone who sleeps with someone who identifies as a woman. So their definition of lesbian is all messed up. It's just bisexuality. So that's why I don't take them seriously when they call themselves gay or lesbian or queer. It's like you're all just bi.
No, but to their argument of sexuality is a fluid thing. We let people who are gender fluid show up as a man one day and a woman the next, but we can't let someone whose sexuality is fluid, we say everyone's sexuality is fluid, right? So we can't let them decide, hey, actually, I want to date a man now. Like, goes against everything you've been saying, the whole reason.
Everything their side's been saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. So pretty much, if she was to say that, I found the woman of my dreams, but it's really a biological man identifying as a woman.
They would have been okay with that. They would have been okay with that.
Yeah, that's where the cognitive dissonance is so crazy.
And that's why I say, like, it's an argument from their side, in their side. People
they fight each other all the time.
People like us at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're soured to lesbians identifying as lesbians now, but you're not soured to the LGBTQ, like the people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, right? You don't like the community.
Yeah, I don't like the community.
You don't like the community.
No.
But hearing this doesn't sour you to actual lesbians. It sours you to the ideology that lesbians come with.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference. This girl who was saying what she said at the beginning is technically so on point with the left that she isn't able to say it again. She isn't able to say, in 10 years you might change your mind because, right, sexuality is fluid, therefore...
They don't like their own words being talked back at them.
No, they hate it.
That's crazy.
And it's funny to me that people like that lesbian in that car were so mad because maybe you're a little more conservative than you thought you were. You want to conserve lesbian. You do.
Gotcha.
You do. You want to conserve what you believe a lesbian is.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
Maybe she believes that a lesbian is someone who dates anyone who identifies as a woman. In which case, why is she mad? The person came with a dick.
Even if she does or doesn't believe that, regardless.
Just doesn't identify as a woman.
Regardless, you're mad that she's with a man. Regardless of everything else.
But if he identified as a woman, she's cool.
But so you're still trying to conserve some idea of lesbianism.
I don't know what kind of idea, but yeah.
So you're turning a little bit more
conservative. Oh, that would make her even more mad. Don't tell
I know.
Don't tell
Sorry to break it to you. I love that. I love when I get people talking, liberal people. I love when I start talking with them and they start saying little conservative bits here and there, and I'm like, oh, let's expand on that.
Say more.
Oh, do you really feel that way?
Really?
to find themselves in a community, to label themselves so that they can be a part of something, so that they can feel like they belong, so that they can have a fight, a movement, a purpose. And right now, that fight, movement, and purpose just so happens to be concentrated within the LGBTQIA plus community. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of people who take on the identity and then realize that, at least for now, I want to be in a relationship with a man or a woman if they're...
I think being a lesbian is an identity.
No, I don't believe. I think it is today, but being a lesbian is inherently a sexuality.
Yeah.
People
Agreed.
have corrupted it and turned it into an identity.
Yep. That's
But that
why.
doesn't mean-
That's why lesbian is fluid in their eyes.
Yes, and that's what the point was I was trying to make, is that according to the left, the blondie in the beginning was right.
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, I don't think that it's bad for lesbians, because I do think it's a little bad for lesbians. But she's still not wrong. You know how many women are with someone for years and years and years, and then they completely change and go for someone completely different?
Yeah.
It doesn't even, not even just not necessarily gender, but it does happen with gender too. Someone who's a straight woman can turn completely gay. A gay woman can go completely straight after any given amount of time.
If we're talking about the narrative from the left. Because
I mean, I'm
in
saying
reality, a straight woman couldn't just turn to be a lesbian. She would be bi.
but they believe they are because that's all they've done. So
You're talking about the narrative from the left.
No, I'm saying that, like, a 30-year-old woman who was married at 20 and has 3 kids and hates her husband is likely, maybe not like super likely, but likely to divorce him and try out dating a woman.
Yeah, and she would call herself a lesbian.
And she would call herself at least a bisexual woman or a baby gay. That's what she'd call herself.
A baby gay, yeah. But you would have to be on the left in order to call yourself a full-blown lesbian.
My point of the matter is, regardless of what I'd prefer that they never label themselves. Let's say they never label themselves. This
That's
is just
fine.
their actions.
Totally
This is just
fine
their
with that.
actions. She's not saying, the blondie in the beginning, isn't saying anything necessarily even about labels. What she's saying is a woman can date a man and then decide to date a woman. A woman can date a woman and then decide to date a man. It shouldn't really matter to you, like the person who's not in the relationship, the person who's not affected by it. From a like a political, social standpoint, it's not a good look for what we say we are, for people to stay and believe that we don't want penis ever. But she's not wrong. It happens. It happens often.
Yeah. Because she labeled herself a lesbian.
She was mistaken with that. But she wasn't wrong with what she was saying about the fact that women do change it up. Women change it up, and yes, maybe now, like, after 10 years of only being with women, she's in a lesbian relationship. Sure, she can be a lesbian now. But she still had bisexual past.
What's funny to me is that, I'm going to reiterate this a little bit, but what's funny to me is that they're mad. They're mad that she is with a man and she's telling another lesbian who has, like, been in the past that maybe she'll find a man. They're mad at that. But if those men identified as women, they wouldn't be mad.
No.
So what I'm seeing is that they're just crazy people who are mad. They're just crazy.
Well, what if they were with a woman who transitioned to be a man?
That's still a lesbian.
But would they
You
be
just
mad?
like masculine women.
But would they be mad? Would she not be a lesbian anymore?
Oh, you know what? I guess they would probably say she's bi.
But that's why she identifies as queer.
Yeah.
The one in the beginning.
Yeah, it's totally, like, backwards.
I know. I think that, honestly, if you're even kind of confused or think that you don't know, or maybe you feel bisexual, stick with bisexual or just don't label yourself.
Or even queer, because we all know that queer is bi. So.
I mean, I don't like the label queer. I'd say just label yourself bisexual.
I know, queer is pretty...
I think it's
cringy.
it's derogatory still, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's demeaning. And at the end of the day, there are 2 genders. If you're open to having interactions with transgender people, transsexual people, that's fine. That's still a level of bi.
I'd be fine with queer if we could say dick and fag. But since we cannot say that, then queer we shouldn't be able to say without it being derogatory.
Yeah.
Because it's hypocritical.
And then we just earned our Trevor Project warning, by the way, by
There we
saying
go.
all this.
Hi, Trevor Project.
Or a man identifying as queer. It's going to go on. And interestingly enough, in another example I gave of Jojo Siwa, who's a huge, female figure amongst young people and is very well known in the internet space and just, in the US in general, she said a large part of the reason that she identified as queer and lesbian and started going to the pride parades and becoming such a motivator for the LGBTQ plus movement is because she felt pressured to identify within the group by people within the group. So here you are. It's the reality that you've literally asked for and that you're reinforcing with the response to Betty Who and what she said in this clip. So when she jokingly says that it almost feels illegal to be straight, that we've course corrected too far, she very much has a point, because you are literally treating her right now as though she has committed a crime. And there are other examples of this happening within woke ideology and the woke framework. When we look at feminism, you start out with the first, the second, the third wave, and you're looking at it and you're like, okay, we are course correcting for a bit. There are things that women should be able to do. There are ways in which women should be treated that need to be implemented in society. And now all of a sudden we are allowing, men to identify as women and take on womanhood. Well, wait a second. Isn't that actually patriarchal? If we're allowing men to compete against women in their sports, haven't we actually course corrected too far and moved to reaffirm patriarchy? Yeah. Okay, so when she says we've course corrected too far and now you are alienating people for being in straight relationships, she has indeed a point. If JoJo Siwa is saying she felt pressured to identify, she has a point. If Betty Who is saying she got a lot of heat for being with a man, she has a point. If you have singer-songwriters who literally have to put out an entire song apologizing for being in a romantic relationship, they have a point. And somebody's in the wrong here, and I don't think it's the people who happen to find love with men.
It's a great point, and I think that's a good point to step up too. But you, for saying like, okay, these women aren't always lesbians. How many? I didn't go to college because I'm not going to be tricked. You went to college. How many girls were at least experimenting or curious or going around and labeling themselves wrong?
All of them.
So I will bring up one last thing. What do all three of these women have in common? Fletcher, Betty Who, that Renee Rapp chick, JoJo Siwa.
They were all fake gay.
They're all young 20-something girls who would roughly...
Fletcher ain't no 20-year-old girl.
But they're all young girls, roughly of college age, with that college mentality.
Maybe a little bit older than college, but yes.
But still have that college mentality where they're experimenting around, and they put these labels on because of the pressure, and then they find out they didn't stick. We should treat it like you did in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and just be like, dumb bitch.
Maybe the LGs and the Bs shouldn't be such bullies, because you're just, you made your group that was like accepted by everyone, and then you just became bully people, and now people don't like you, and they're even leaving your group.
And they have every right to.
They have every right to. Anyway, what do you guys think? Like and subscribe. We will see you in the next one.
I drew a snake.
She drew a snake.
With an eyeball.
Crawling